Welcome to Change Your World, an exceptional edition today in honor of someone who passed yesterday, a very important, meaningful practitioner of medicine, Dr. Michael Harris, who had Tomorrow's Children for many years and was the founder of this incredible organization. He was a doctor and head of pediatric oncology at the Hackensack Medical Center in New Jersey and founded that organization, Tomorrow's Children, and other things as well to assist families and children to go through the ordeal of this incredible journey that people have to go through sometimes. Having someone like Dr. Harris in your life, how this could be, project, the idea of being a parent, a young parent, who all of a sudden discovers that their child is sick and in danger, and then goes into the hands of a doctor like Dr. Harris, and who was going to take care of that child with his team and build a whole incredible relationship. And I think he does that with every single family and every single child. So I will let you discover the man. It was an interview I did back in July 4th of 2008 when I was broadcasting a show on WVNJ or something like this, which is a station, FM station based in New Jersey, with a good reach of the tri-state area and more. And that show name was Changing Your World. And here it's now You Change the World. But it was really a radio show, and Dr. Harris was my guest, where he could really share his vision as a leader and share his experience and what was behind it. So I let you discover that today, again, in honor of Dr. Michael Harris, who passed away yesterday. And it's a sad thing, very sad. I was close to him. I feel that way. I think that every parent feels that way who went through this, and really discover the man, discover greatness, especially in the medical field, when doctors care and get very close to their patients and to their families.
It's time for Change Your World, a show offering professional guidance and coaching expertise for business owners, entrepreneurs, and all who are in professional transition. Change Your World is hosted by business coach Andre Politzer, who for over 25 years has helped inspire growth and discover potential in professionals from the United States and Europe. Each week features special guests with real success stories and valuable information designed to help you maximize your professional development. Here's your host, Andre Politzer.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome on board. This evening is a different type of radio show we're offering you to change your world. Already early in our existence on WVNJ, we're up to something new. We want to connect with you. We really want to make a difference. It's ambitious, I know, to pretend we can inspire fundamental changes in your lives or your businesses just like that in a few minutes on radio. You can own a business, lead a small or larger team to produce more profit, participate actively in a high-performance group of people dedicated to their goals. But the company's objectives, the way you handle your day-to-day challenges can really make and determine where you're going and how successful you can be. So what holds you back from playing your biggest game possible in your business or in your life? What is the biggest obstacle you've had to overcome? Are there any dreams, goals, or visions you have given up on? Why did you somehow disconnect from your main goals? Do you really have a dream? We want to discuss vision and goals, the reality of making it possible, and involve people and talents along with your dream to make it a powerful and meaningful experience. This is our topic today, from vision to execution, making the difference through excellence and proper focus. I could not resist to look for an ideal model of achievement in a challenging context where we can find a good amount of similarities to the business world and in the same time correlate objectives and visions to purpose. So Dr. Michael Harris, our guest this evening, lives every day the real story of life. His specialty can only be carried on if it's set on courage, on hope, faith, and determination. Dr. Harris dedicates his professional life to children with cancer. Before Dr. Harris, the doctor, diagnoses a child and shares the news with the parents, he's a man with a soul with feelings like no other man I personally met before. is one of those incredibly busy medical experts for whom time expands when he provides personal care to his patients. He is a doctor with an incredible gift for curing and healing, but he's a man with a heart and feelings, and each time he deals with patients or with parents, he has to put things into the right perspective, find the right tonality to talk the truth and support high challenging situations. So, Dr. Harris, good evening and welcome to the program.
Good evening, Andre. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yes, it's a pleasure to have you too. Well, I would like to maybe start asking you that very question. Children with cancer, obviously this is a very sensitive area. How is science, how is in fact cancer for children today in terms of the medical world? How did we progress?
Well, I believe that it's certainly one of the success stories in modern medicine. I started my professional career after I finished my fellowship at the Children's Hospital in Philadelphia in 1974. And at that time, we were curing somewhere between 20 to 30% of children who develop cancer. Today, we are curing 80% of children who develop cancer. Still, we have a long way to go because cancer remains the largest killer of children outside of accidents in this country. So if you put cystic fibrosis, AIDS, cardiac disease, and other diseases together, cancer trumps them all as one disease. That's in the combined statistic. So we still have a very long way to go because when you lose one child, just one child, you lose a universe. And we will not rest until we can stay here, and perhaps in a number of years someone can come here and tell you that we now cure 100% of children who develop cancer.
Okay, so as I said, we always start with a positive note. It's a very positive thing you're saying. And if I could also ask on a personal note to you, Doctor, what brought you to that field?
Well, it's an excellent question, actually. When I started in medicine, I was not going to be a pediatric hematologist, oncologist. I was not going to take care of children with cancer. In fact, I thought I would go into adolescent medicine. One of my attendings at the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia thought that was pretty foolish. He didn't think there was such a specialty that should be. And actually, there is a specialty now of adolescent medicine. Then there was just beginning. And what brought me to this was that one of my rotations as a resident at the Children's Hospital was on the, in quotes, cancer ward at the Children's Hospital. And remember what I told you, we were losing most of these children, not curing them. But I believe that my time spent there, I was privileged to take care of some of the most courageous children and parents who exist anywhere on earth. And they inspired me. They inspired me to join a field where I could do, not only do excellent, hopefully excellent clinical care, but also clinical research to try to improve on these children's desperate situation in those days. And so that actually spurred me on. And the parents today still spur me on because they still remain the most courageous parents. And the children remain the most courageous children that I know of.
So it's a difficult, we get into that so sensitive and meaningful area of our lives, is that I still invited you to a show aimed for small business owners, leaders, executives, people in transition who are wondering, what to do next or how to optimize their business model and their leadership development. So obviously, I tried to of correlating this. I saw you as a doctor, as a healer, as all of this that you just mentioned, and I also tried to connect to your leadership. You have a huge team around you, and I'm just thinking, what can we say about that this evening with you? So when you were getting into that field and when you were progressing, to where you are today, what was the vision back then?
I'm happy you mentioned that. As you were asking this question, I was thinking of vision.
Right.
One needs a vision in life to succeed. And I don't care in what area of life you go into. I mean, we watched Wimbledon yesterday, and Rafael Nadal and Roger Federer have visions on how they are going to attack and succeed. And no one lost yesterday in Wimbledon. I think they both won. It was the most superb match, exciting match I've ever seen in my life.
Mm-hmm.
So in life, it's the same thing when one deals in life. And I don't mean to compare what I do to tennis. That's, I guess, trying to trivialize what I do. But I had a vision, and the vision was that what we could do is we could cure children in an atmosphere that was conducive to their care and cure. In other words, establish a area where we cure children, and at the same time as we're caring for them, we establish a caring environment. So what is a caring environment?
Yes, please define it for
And
us.
what that is, at least in my vision, was that a caring environment would be one where we are able to deliver state-of-the-art, cutting-edge therapy to our children, to clinical research so we can keep on progressing, but at the same time to provide with them the psychosocial aspects that they need to get through what they are going through on a daily basis. So how does one do that? Well, one gets the finest physicians, which I am proud I think we have, the finest nurses, which we have, and at the same time get psychologists, child life specialists, creative art therapists, teaching liaisons, social workers, you name it, we have it. And this way our kids are not only treated with the best therapy, but also an environment that is conducive to their cure and care. After all, if we are going to cure children, we want to give them brighter tomorrows. Their tomorrows have to be happy. And the Tomorrow's Children's was named by a child. I didn't name it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a story worth telling, and it's a story that tells you that children tell us and give us wisdom. And Kathy was a 14-year-old girl who had a bone tumor, and it recurred in her lungs, and she knew that she was going to die. And then we had a contest to name our new program. What were we going to call it? And actually we were naming the Tomorrow's Children's Fund at the time, a foundation that was raising money for us. And so we had a contest among our patients, and she thought we should be Tomorrow's Children. And we loved it. And as I was giving her camera, which was a gift at the time, I said, Kathy, so tell me, why did you name this? And I will never forget this as long as I live. She fixed her most beautiful blue eyes on me, and clear as can be those eyes were. And she said, well, Dr. Harris, I know I'm not the best patient. I have given you a lot of gray hairs. I give the nurses here gray hairs. I give everybody gray hairs. And she was a pistol. But she said to me, but I do know something, that you're all here to give children like me a wonderful tomorrow, and the children who come here in the future much, much brighter tomorrows. And how prophetic she was, because 10 months after she died, her brother was diagnosed with acute myelocytic leukemia.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm happy to report today that her brother is now an architect and has 2 children. And every time I think about that, and he was treated by us, and every time I think of that, I know that Kathy is looking down at us and winking at me and says, see, that's what I meant. That's a vision, to be able to treat children in a caring environment.
Dr. Harris, back to you for a few minutes. I think that you talked about the environment that you created for those children, and that's an enterprise itself. How many people are working with you, if I can ask those superficial questions, but sometimes it gives also an idea of what you're up to?
On the we have both an outpatient and an inpatient side. So on the outpatient side, we have approximately 54 individuals working with us. That includes not only physicians and nurses, et cetera, but also administrative staff. And on the inpatient side, we have approximately 30 to 34 nurses working on the inpatient unit.
Okay. Now, let's talk it's a little bit difficult probably for you to visualize this that way, but let's talk about Tomorrow's Children as, quote-unquote, a business. You mentioned to me that it's not a profitable business when you take it as a standalone, and it's not meant to be. So how do you survive?
We survive in two ways. The first and most important way, we enlisted the parents to help us. Jennifer was asking about how one accomplishes your mission. And I realized early on that we needed to involve the parents in our fundraising and in our mission. And so on the Sunday before Thanksgiving in 1981, I got a group of parents together and we did that. And the second, of course, and then they grew into the Tomorrow Children's Fund, which raised a lot of money for us. And the other, of course, is to make partners not only with the parents and the doctors and our team, but also the hospital, and involve them and get them excited about our mission.
So how does it go? Is it always really something shining, or is it something difficult or challenging?
Oh, I think life has its ups and downs, and because we're in a very difficult financial environment today, on the medical side and just in general, but in medicine in general, it's very, very difficult. There's a give and take. That, something. If we didn't give and take and we didn't compromise, we would get nowhere. I have to understand from where the hospital's coming from, and they have to understand where I'm coming from, and we have to meet sometimes in the middle and work out our differences.
You're listening to Change Your World Talk Show. The call line is 800-962-1160. And while we just have a few minutes remaining while we were off the air, just before we went to our last break, Andre, you asked a great question of Dr. Harrison. That is, this Tomorrow's Children Institute is an idea that's here in New Jersey. This is in Hackensack. Is this an idea that can expand to other markets, to other portions of the country or the world? And Dr. Harris, if you could expand on that answer for our listeners.
You're talking about in medicine or in general?
Well, over the break you were talking about how the program is actually on its way to another state, another territory completely. And is the program or the profession or both headed to that new area?
And I think it's really the program. I believe that we are more than willing to have people come to us, both at the Tomorrow Children's Institute and Tomorrow Children's Fund, to show them how they can establish a program like we did for whether it's for children with cancer or children with other diseases. And I'm just going to focus, when you do something, at least right now, I would just focus on what we know best. How do we take care of children? I'm not going to sit here presumptuously and say that this is good for an adult model, because they may have different models. But kids who have chronic illnesses or acute illnesses that go into chronic illnesses, we could certainly show people how this is done, and we'd be more than willing to do that. This is not rocket science. What this is getting your vision straight, developing a mission and getting it straight, actually looking at your values, what's important to you, getting it straight, and then acting on it in a logical fashion, step by step, not trying to conquer the world in one fell swoop, but to do it stepwise. And if you do it stepwise, you can finally reach that goal. We still have a long way to go. We have many things we still want to accomplish. So we're still working on our model.
So I wish we could have more time to elaborate, but there is one thing I want to maybe quickly mention, is that you've got what we would call, and forgive me, doctor, to make a comparison like this, but we're talking to business people out there. So what they do is they sell a product, and then there is the after sale. I'm sure that at Tomorrow's Children, once those children feel better, there is something else that you're doing which you call Cure and Beyond. Right.
We have established a program for our survivors, and that is an absolute model where we have doctors, nurses, social workers, psychologists, learning liaison people. We get vocational counselors involved, et cetera, and that is a model that has to, and again, it's philanthropy, because the Tomorrow Children's Fund gives us this money. The Irisone Investment Research Conference in New York raises money, and we use part of that money to go to supporting this program. It's totally non-remunerative. Right. There's no way that a hospital could support this. You need philanthropy to support the type of program we have.
So that we'll take it also as a message. When you get to some kind of a social effort like this one, you need to draw a plan, again, about a philanthropic plan and do fundraising, which is a profession in itself.
Believe me, it's a real profession.
There's
and
no
thank
question.
God I have people doing it, and they do it very well.
So let me ask you, if we just finish this program in one word, what would be the key, again, of making a vision like this to happen, and what is needed right now in someone's ability to create something.
I think that you have to have a vision, you have to dream. You have to be able to dream, and if you can dream, you can really accomplish that. We dreamt, and we accomplished something.
That's extraordinary.
Well
Thank you
said.
so much for coming.
This is Change Your World Talk Show with your business coach, Andre Politzer, and we'd like to thank this evening's guest, Dr. Michael Harris of Tomorrow's Children.